All right, Hell to Play. We are back. Highly anticipated guest. Thank you. Highly anticipated guest. We got Paddy Black of the Out of Hand podcast.
Yo!
Yeah. Coming in live via the power of Skype from a undisclosed location.
With great couches and great brick.
Oh, yeah.
Couches.
We'll get some. We're all in incognito mode tonight, so I think we're okay.
We're going sunglasses in.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I guess, Pat, the Out of Hand podcast, you guys just started that earlier this year, right? I mean, you guys going to keep that going, or what's going on? Or is that all kind of broken up because of...
No, we're just on hiatus right now. Yeah, we started this about a month and a half. Well, I think right around the time you guys started.
Yeah, well, it was very, right at the same time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were dropping episodes kind of neck and neck.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But, when the shelter in place and all this crap got pretty serious, basically, John was just, Spolmer, I should say, was just, left with nothing. Not that he wasn't left with anything, but you know what I mean. His work stopped and everything. So like a lot of other people. So his wife's working from home and he's got the two boys to take care of. So in the meantime, we actually tried to do something like this, but it just didn't work out and it just sounded like shit and everything. So we figured it wouldn't be that long until this was over with. We didn't expect another month and a half of this. So for now, yeah, it's just on hiatus and stuff. But we'll be back as soon as this shit's over. So.
Oh, awesome.
You guys are going strong.
Yeah, man, we've been trying to get together at least once a week. We're trying to make a point of that. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird doing a podcast. Like, it's just kind of an excuse to hang out and
it is. It's great.
Have a conversation, And I think that's right now, like that's more important than ever, And what's cool too is we're not our group of friends is super tight and everything, but we don't really see each other just as it is, but I think there's a lot of our buddies that are listening, which I think is awesome, at least whatever, if it's JJ driving around in a UPS truck all day, like he can hang out with us and bullshit, and maybe, Dustin's brother, Brandon, can just scream at whatever device he's listening to us on, like, you fucking idiot!
Brandon Lamps always triggered.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we love each other. So it's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the reason why we've been trying to get together, making sure we get together so regularly, is because of how crazy these times are, man.
Oh, you have to. You have to. And it's really great that you guys can keep going, and do this. I assume you guys don't live far from each other?
Correct.
No. Me and Jackson share a wall.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's not far of a drive at all. But I do still feel like when I show up to do the pods, I feel a little bit like I'm underground, like Neo in the Matrix a little bit. Like I got to make sure that I don't have any Mr. Smiths following me. Like
feel
it's kind of
crazy. It's a little dirty. We got to enter through the side door in the alley here, and but one of the other things too is, if you've listened at all, it's like I'm still working, Dustin's still working. This is so crazy how this is all being handled. So you're telling me I can, we can go to work, but you can't get together with people. It's crazy, man. Like, what kind of social state are they preparing us for here, or putting us under?
No, it's very strange. Now it's, I don't know about by where you guys are, but are you guys hearing that dinging? Sorry.
Yeah, but it makes you sound like you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
so
sounds
keep
cool.
it going.
Keep going. Yeah,
trying to get rid of that. Out here, we have to put the masks on when we go to grocery stores now. When they do that whole thing where if you get in line, it's like every 6 feet, a person has to be from each other and everything like that. But I don't get that, because then, if like guys like you who have to work, I'm sure you're in the same vicinity or within the same, I should say vicinity, but same feet within each other. Now, do you guys have to wear masks when you work?
Absolutely not. No,
me neither. Nothing. Not even gloves.
Yeah, that seems like the hypocrisy of the whole thing is that, like, okay, so they just, the biggest thing to impact Wisconsin was that Menards just said that you have to wear a mask to go into Menards.
I believe Costco is doing that as well.
Costco's doing that too?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a big thing with us is that Menards, that's where we go to get all of our home improvement needs. We go to get our lawn stuff and all that. And that was a big deal for everybody. But you go there, you wear the mask and everything, but you go to swipe your card and you touch the keypad, and then the next person comes up and you go to swipe your card and touch the keypad. They haven't wiped the keypad down in between. Like, it's just a big hypocrisy, and it's just a joke. Like, saying that the masks are there for something. They're not forcing anybody to wear gloves. They're not keeping anything clean. Like, is it really a thing?
Yeah, I'm not really sure who that's supposed to be benefiting. And Menards is one of those places right now, too, one of those few places that you can go. And it's a gigantic store. So how many people do you have in there at once? I know they're starting to, like, keep a tally on how many people are in there or whatever, but...
Yeah,
people,
I've seen at least 200 cars in the parking lot.
It's springtime in Wisconsin, though, so everybody's, like, flocking to Menards because there isn't shit else to do but, like, work on your yard. And this is what people do this time of year anyways. But, that's one of the places that you can go and actually spend your money right now. So regardless of how many people they're limiting into the store at a time, it's a revolving fucking door all day.
All day.
So, I mean, it's just... Whatever. I know you end up talking about the same shit every episode, but it's just the constant hypocrisy in all this. It's annoying because
it is because it's like when it really first hit the shelter in place. I mean, and I think I went out about 4 or 5 days later or whatever, driving around or something, and I noticed that places like McDonald's over here and Wendy's and stuff, they had crazy lines. So these people are in their cars. They can't go into the actual McDonald's. But it's like all the people that are serving through that window. Now, I don't know what precautions they take. I haven't done a drive-through since this stuff started. But I assume that, there's people that are still preparing your food, touching the packages, giving it to you. And even if you're wearing a mask, I mean, unless you take those things and grab them and wipe them down instantaneously or put them in some kind of box to keep everything fine till you get home, that shit's all over the place.
Right.
There's people aren't wearing masks. People are caught sneezing, and they tell you that I've looked up some articles that said, well, if you get even takeout, or if you go and pick something up, the chances of it being in your food or on your food is like slim to none. And I'm like, well, how do you know that if this guy over here, who maybe is just in the beginning stages of it, maybe he's preparing your hamburger over here and he turns and coughs, how do you know that's not on your food? Like, what guarantees you to be safe? The other thing is that all these other times before, they've always quarantined the sick. They've never quarantined everyone.
Exactly, dude.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
I was going to say, dude, to eliminate all chances of cross-contamination is impossible, just about. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it'd be like if one guy showed up to the office and he's sick, they would send everybody home and stay at home, close the office, everybody stay home until he gets better, because if we come back, he could get sick again. Like, why don't we just send him home?
Yeah.
Should we just send him home, maybe?
No? Oh, you mean just like what Sweden did, and they said, hey, everybody, we understand who our immunocompromised people are. We understand who our elderly people are. They need to shelter in place, and the rest of the people can go about their daily lives. And guess what? Because this thing is no different than chickenpox, okay? You get it, you cough for a while, you're uncomfortable for a bit, and then you don't have it anymore, and now you're good to go. Okay, so the people. So it's like the thing about like chickenpox, like when parents would have chickenpox parties. Okay, when one kid would have chickenpox, and they would bring all their kids around that person, to expose them to chickenpox at a young age,
Right.
because they can handle that. This is exactly what we're dealing with right now. Because when I saw my mom get chickenpox at like age 26, because my mom was very young when she had me. I saw her get chickenpox at age like 26, and she was like bedridden for over a day, like 2 days.
Yeah, it hits harder when you're older,
right?
And
exactly, and that's what this is doing. So this is like chickenpox. If an 80-year-old person gets chickenpox, they're gonna be fucked up, all right?
Well, well, absolutely, and that actually kind of scares me because I've never had the chickenpox. My mom tried to do that with me, like the whole when my sister had it, she's like, "Hey, go hang out with your sister or whatever," and she tells me to this day, like, I still never caught it, and I guess I even ate part of her hamburger or whatever. But that's the thing is like. So they say that obviously there's a difference between this and influenza. It's mutating faster and in different ways and everything like that, supposedly. But the thing is that if it isn't that much different, because it depends on who you hear, what you hear from, who you talk to, and stuff like that. It just makes me wonder. It's like, okay, well then during flu season, why aren't there more precautions to protect the elderly or people with autoimmune diseases and stuff like that? You think that if the amount of influenza that kills the amount of these people that have these underlying conditions or they're just elderly, like why wouldn't there be more to take care of them? Always, like you don't see people going out and you hear like the flu. Oh, this one person's got the flu. Okay, and it's just like kind of like, well, you think that they would have taken these precautions back with the swine flu or H1 or whatever they were. I can't remember.
Yeah, you're right. H1N1. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like why? It's just like why now? Like what is it that makes this so much more different? We've heard the different excuses or arguments or clinical trials and this and that and everything like that. But honestly, I don't know anyone.
Dude, and you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
You don't know anyone.
I take that back. I know 2 people who know a person.
I have so many like directions to take this because I mean we all know that what's actually happening is a takedown of a worldwide satanic pedophile cult, and we'll get to that later. We'll get to your LA days later on, and we'll dive into that a little bit.
Yes, sir.
But and real quick, it's like you're in Chicago. The mayor of Chicago just was grandstanding, like screaming at people, saying she was going to go after them and lock them up. Like, we will find you and we will arrest you for going out. Meanwhile, like a couple weeks ago, she got her hair done.
Yeah.
You sent me that.
She got her trash hair done. Like
she's like, I'm in the public eye.
Dude,
I had to get it done.
Like, let's not, like.
It looks terrible.
Her hair is already terrible. And then she got that terrible ass hairdo done. Dude, she is the epitome of evil. Like, when you look at her, that's brutal.
Scary, man. But it's just you also just can't, like, what she said. It's like, okay, wait, you guys, because I think Illinois released, like, however many prisoners early, sex offenders and all this.
Yep.
Is it to make room for people that are trying to have a fucking barbecue?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just another one of these things that's just fucking ridiculous, and it's just so in our face that, like, are we supposed to take this seriously? Like, this lady's scaring the shit out of everybody, but like,
great point.
What's going on? Like, you're making room in the prisons because you don't want it spreading to all, like, ripping through the prison to other prisoners, but you're gonna lock people up for disobeying this emergency order or whatever, the safer at home thing, and just to throw them in the prison that you just tried to empty out?
It's not even lawful.
Correct.
Right.
Or, it's not even, it's unconstitutional.
Correct.
You can't, there hasn't been a declaration of martial law. He hasn't invoked that because under those circumstances, that can happen. But
now he actually hasn't said martial law, but it's almost like because we all just kind of went along with it calmly because it was kind of a gradual thing.
This is a non-gun
emergency action and everything, which that I believe that does away with or puts some of our bits of our Constitution on pause. Like there's a few things that kind of go more into a type of martial law standing and everything like that, but it's nothing as if he would have declared martial law. But either way, people are not going to listen to her. I see people, I live out my window is a huge fucking park, the park where they do Riot Fest every year, and there's tons of people out there. They're keeping their distance and everything like that. I go for drives. I see people out. I don't see a lot of the tight 20 people doing a picnic kind of thing like that, like they're doing in LA, especially along the beaches.
Oh,
they
right.
totally told Newsom to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
which is what they should have. Yeah, Gavin Newsom get fucked.
Which, if you've just been there or lived there like I did, the beach culture is just the number one thing that anyone in that area cares about. You're not going to take that away from them. So it was actually really cool to see, a lot of people really stand up to that. I mean, it literally got to the point of them taking their beaches away to say "fuck you,"
Yeah,
and
dude.
we're absolutely defiant.
Yeah.
And then you hear that, well, these fucking hillbillies like in Florida or these retards or whatever you want to call them, that we'll see them in 2 weeks when they're all dying and shit like that. And, honestly, who the fuck knows?
Well, yeah.
But it's ridiculous, and for her to spout off like that, Lightfoot or whatever, it's
fear, man. It's just fear, right?
Huh?
It's just fear. It's just fear-mongering.
Dude, she had anger.
That the cops... I don't even know if all the cops would agree with that.
Dude, I was just going to say that, but yeah, keep going. Like the cops, the cops are your neighbors. The cops are from the neighborhood. The cops are at least from the city. What police officers are going to enforce this bullshit?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if you saw that clip in New York.
Yeah.
Where it was, I assume somewhere down in Manhattan or something like that, where these cops all of a sudden, it was like thug life. These guys weren't even, they were mouthing back, slapping people, fuck you, come fuck with me, you'll see what you get if you fuck with me and shit like that. Like above and beyond just what they were normally supposed to do just to keep the peace. It was anything but that. It was just insanity. And so honestly, I think at a certain point, if that were to happen here, and again, it depends on the neighborhood, you would see huge backlash, And I'm surprised because this town, like a few others, is known for rioting, So
yeah,
I'm not saying I want that to happen.
You just said you live right outside of Riot Fest. I mean, but but what all it took for me was to see two police officers arresting a guy for trying to paddleboard in the ocean. Like, that right there told me that these guys are just stormtroopers following orders.
Well, and that was a few weeks ago, and we have a buddy of ours that lives in Huntington Beach, and he even said, like, the beaches are closed, and, shout out to Andy Scullin. I just texted him the other day. Great guy.
Yeah,
if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah,
but it's like,
but
now look at Huntington Beach. That was just a few weeks ago. This dude was like, fuck it, I'm going for it. I don't care if the beach is closed, and they take him away in handcuffs. And now look at Huntington Beach,
dude. But how many of us have had a job, at our job have seen something that is technically out of spec, and we just kind of say, fuck it. It's not worth the bullshit that we'd have to go through. We know that we don't have to deal, like, what we'd have to do to fix this is not worth the problems that we have to deal with. And for them to these stormtroopers to say, like, hey, we're going to arrest this guy, like, that right there tells me that there are human beings that are willing to fuck over other human beings to just keep their job.
Yeah.
That tells me right there. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. That's all it takes is that one instance to tell me that I won't be certain that a stormtrooper, a police officer, wouldn't knock on my door to try and get my vaccination. That right there tells me that I wouldn't trust them.
Well, I think
they are also brainwashed.
Unfortunately, they were making an example with that arrest.
Right. right, that's what I mean. It was a few weeks ago. The beach probably just had gotten closed, and like, this jackass is out there, like, go get him, And then, so they did, but now they've made a meme out of it, like,
Yeah, sure.
hey, why aren't you at Walmart?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think, honestly, and here's the kind of the gray area is that I believe within the first 30 days when they, made this as is, or they did the first 30 days of like a full on shelter in place, the states themselves have like a 30-day like unto themselves authority to kind of like enacting their own emergency deal. And I think this paddleboarder guy was within those 30-day limits to where like, California and New York, New Jersey, Illinois, we were all under, basically the jurisdiction of Illinois itself. It was state, not federal. Because federal wasn't, I don't think, well, I can't remember now if federal was overseeing it, or they were just saying we have to do this, and then each state, you do what you need to do to comply.
Yeah, that's been a big question, the whole thing, because governors have been given such crazy power in this whole thing. Because it hasn't been a real federal thing. The governors have been taking some crazy power in this whole thing.
Yeah, Wisconsin being one of them who, like, Wisconsin... our Safer at Home thing is extended to May 26th right now. New York is the 15th, I believe, still.
Yeah.
And now there was a Wisconsin Supreme Court hearing yesterday. And meanwhile, there's people like myself that are waiting to like see if we can open up a business. But you're even trying to read these. I don't know if you looked into it at all, dude. I'm trying to read these articles to find out what's going on. And it's every single article written yesterday was just about the shit show that hearing was. People screaming at each other that you're talking over me, you're not giving me my time. Like, that's what the articles were about. It's like you got people that, again, like myself, like my wife, that are waiting to, like, when the fuck, like, we don't give a shit what kind of the way you guys behave at your at the hearing. We need to know the result. Like, what's going on here? Like, what.
That goes to show that they only care about politics. They don't care about the people.
Right.
And that's
So
what they've been showing this whole time is they only care about the politics, not the people.
Yeah, they're just railroading the fact that this is just a red versus blue thing.
Correct.
And even in the Supreme Court, they can't get along.
Well, it's both, because, I mean, it's just like that, and, the video that we were discussing earlier was basically what? For every check mark of a COVID patient, it was 13,000. If they use a ventilator, it's 40,000.
Correct.
So this is money in their pocket and everything. So essentially, in many ways, they're playing with people's lives, because people need, like if you guys saw the other video, which I'm sure you did, the two doctors from Bakersfield or around the Bakersfield area.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
They were saying how we need to be out. We need sunlight.
Chickenpox parties.
What's that?
They were also saying we need chickenpox parties. They were saying that's what you need, exposure.
Right.
You're only atrophying your immune system by staying inside.
Right. That's how Sweden did it. That's how Sweden got to where they were at.
It's like, is it Singapore that is like one of the Singapore? Or is it Hong Kong? I can't remember.
Probably definitely not Hong Kong.
I could see Singapore.
Yeah, probably definitely not Hong
government
Kong.
control, really peaceful.
The world, and they had like, I don't know, 90 cases or something like that, or 90 deaths, let's say. It's crazy, and there's all these pockets of the world where they're like, yeah, we're taking our precautions, but at the same time, it's like, shit's not going on here. I've heard from people in several different states that it's what the news is portraying is not actually happening, in these states or in these major cities. Not to say that there's one hospital that's fucking crazy with all these patients, and then there's another hospital that's not. It could just be that the one hospital is the major hospital, and they have all the biggest and best of all the resources to help these people, so that's where everybody is. And then the other hospitals could be like, overspill.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the nurses are on furlough. Nurses come in and they're like, go home.
Correct.
Yeah.
Doctors are like, happy to see a patient. I mean, it's not in the greatest circumstances. It could be a heart attack or a motorcycle accident or something. But
Yeah.
if these people, pass from their heart attack or their accident, they're marked as COVID.
Right, and that has been admitted over and over and over again. I'm surprised it's not, but I'm surprised it's not common knowledge at this point. They're fucking with the numbers. They're fucking with the numbers. And
daily they're changing the way they report the numbers.
And
daily.
I know this is like a sensitive topic too, because like, dude, I've had a couple really good conversations this week. Dude, I talked to Luke. Luke's sister works in a hospital. His girlfriend works in a hospital. My buddy John, his wife works in a hospital. Like we know nurses. Like and we're not saying that, nobody is saying that this isn't real, but it's just like
Correct.
We're being fucked with. Like we're not getting all the information, and that's
the numbers are being manipulated. They're
right,
being
and that's the
manipulated.
most annoying part is you have Fauci and certain doctors that are the experts that we're told to believe, and okay, he's a real doctor, these are real doctors, but then you have other real doctors that are saying the exact opposite, so they can't even agree. We're stuck in the middle, and then we're just fighting with each other. It's fucking bullshit.
You got to start to question Fauci when he has been in 5 different cabinets, like 5. He has been a part of 5 different presidential cabinets. So you got to question that. How does a person manage to make it through that? You don't get ousted if you're truth telling.
And he's being pushed so hard by mainstream media and doing interviews. On YouTube, doing interviews with YouTubers.
He's been on TikTok.
Yeah.
He's been
I
on
didn't
TikTok.
even realize that. I don't.
They've been making crazy memes about love Fauci. We love Fauci.
Fauci gang.
Yeah, Fauci gang with Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry.
He's being turned into a celebrity.
Yeah, they have turned this guy who was telling us about people dying into a celebrity. If that right there isn't something to trigger a little bit of a warning sign, why are we God? Just wake up with this stuff.
You would think a scientific debate would be great, multiple scientists with multiple viewpoints.
And that's the problem right there. Is it would be, because now you're seeing it's now science versus science. Before, and this is just my own personal take on it, but before all this shit happened, it seemed to be more like religion versus science. God forbid if you were to say thoughts and prayers, you were demonized. You were you were one of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because in this world, religion or thoughts of religion or the aspects of religion doesn't count in today's world. That is because we're so advanced in our technology, and it's everything is science based. But now you have people, and it's not just 1 or 2 or 3 doctors that are coming out. If that were the case, it's usually if there's a rumor and 1 or 2 people say, yeah, maybe I heard. But if you're hearing 5 or 6 people back it up, then you know that there's something more to it. There's more of a backbone to this idea or thought or situation like we're going through. And so hundreds of these doctors have come out and said, I'm being told that it's this, and I'm seeing that this disease is actually something more like this, but they want me to treat it as such, which is actually making the patient worse. They brought up the fact about that there's that what is it? They're getting blood clots, right? Mm-hmm. And I was going down the rabbit hole, and I found something where somebody finally admitted, well, the blood clots. What's happening is especially if they go on the respirator, the ventilators,
intubated.
Since these people could be out for 2 or 3 weeks, they're just laying there, no movement, no nothing, and the ventilator, what it does is it doesn't push oxygen all the way into their body. It just gives them enough oxygen or enough air just to keep them alive, keep them breathing. But their organs and their blood and everything else, don't take this as is, or that I'm God and all that I know everything, because I don't. But
that's why we asked you to be on the show, actually.
You are God.
Well, hello. No,
yes, God. Yes.
Again, this is just what I was, reading or whatever, and they were basically saying that this is, the fact that these blood clots are happening is because the oxygen is not getting through their entire body. They're laying there for weeks, and they're not getting, all the nutrients and everything that oxygen gives, when it hits the entire body. But then there was another guy who kind of said the same thing, but he's like, well, yeah, it causes blood clots, but we think the main culprit is the disease. So you kind of got one guy who's basically like, it's the machine. It's the fact that there's no movement. It's the fact that, when people are weak and their hearts aren't pumping the blood like they're supposed to with the oxygen, this is what can happen. Well, and then everybody else starts to kind of do the blame game on the disease, and it just doesn't make sense because, again, there's more and more people that are going against the grain of like those that believe Dr. Fauci or what the stronger narrative has been as of late. So
right, and we had another crying nurse video this week. The lady from Nevada that went to volunteer in New York that said a lot of these ventilators are just blowing people's lungs out and shit. Like she's watching these people die. You just said it before. I mean, they're incentivized to get them on the ventilator. That's $39,000. And isn't it like 80% of the people that go on a ventilator aren't coming off of them?
Well, yeah, because what I understand about an invasive ventilator, when you get intubated, it basically works your lungs, and your lungs atrophy. When I broke my ankle and I didn't move my foot for 4 months, my calf muscle was gone. And having an intubated ventilator like this, it works your lungs for you, and your lungs, you're not working your lungs yourself anymore. Your lungs are just getting worked open and closed, and they weaken.
So it's not curing anything.
It's not curing anything. It's working your lungs, and it's basically atrophying your lungs.
It's like a rabbit in a wheel. It's like,
yeah.
So,
like circling back around though, just like what these people are actually coming into the hospital for. I mean, that's what I mean. Like these numbers are manipulated. They're so fucked up. But going back to those Bakersfield doctors, this Judy Mikovits or whatever, you know, like triggering Brandon Lamp.
Yeah,
Brandon
has been triggered.
Yeah, but also, or just real quick, just like. So, Dr. Shiva Ayudari is getting like a ton of...
Crush your name every time.
I think I'm still
You're
fucking
so
it
good
up.
at it,
but
dude.
like that dude's been getting a lot of press and everything lately. And he's from India. He grew up in India. And one of his things is like, I grew up playing in the dirt, like, getting dirty. Like, and dude, India, number one, is gigantic. Isn't there as many people that live in India as live in China? Like, it's so densely populated. I've watched...
That's correct.
It was like a Vice article or a Vice piece. I know.
Was it about dildos?
Dude, it was about the kid. It was right after the dildo segment. Yeah, right after the dildo segment, they were talking about. It was all like these kids that live like on the homeless kids that just live on the railroad tracks, collecting like recycling, just running free. Just the homeless population is insane, and so I looked this up the other night, I don't know why, just curious. I'm like, man, what does India look like right now? Because with such a crazy homeless population and being so densely populated, you would think that this virus is ripping through there like none other. Mm-hmm. There's 4 million, well, if you type in India homeless population on Google, like I did, it was like 7.2 million. And then... the Reuters article I went to said there was 4 million people homeless, but there's 73 million families that don't have adequate housing. 73 million families.
Oh,
so
wow.
Again, I'm like, okay, so like they must just be getting crushed by this COVID-19,
Right.
And but check it out. What's that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead. What were you?
No, I was going to say, I know many, I have never been there myself, always wanted to go, but I know a lot of people who have been there, and they say wonderful things, but the one thing that they do say that is kind of like, they got to watch out for, there's always people like pissing or shitting in the streets, so you'd be walking to the market, and there's just, which actually isn't much unlike LA, in the last couple of years.
Dude, I mean, you're not having a good time unless you're watching somebody take a nice shit piss in the gutter,
What you meant to say was all of California, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just beach culture, man.
I don't know about all of California, but the LA itself.
I was in San Fran for 2 days. The first 3 hours I was there, I saw human shit.
Oh yeah. They're just as bad as LA.
It was your
It
own.
was well, might have been my own, but that whatever.
Well, so anyways, yeah. So we'll get back. We'll definitely get back to that.
We'll circle back
Yeah.
to that.
But so India, crazy, the homeless, and I know there's a homeless population here too. There's homeless people everywhere. But India, like, whatever that Vice story I saw, like, it's a thing. Like, that's the thing. Is like kids, they grow up, they run away from home. Again, 73 million families with inadequate housing. Like, the kids just go do their own thing. They run around with other kids. They try to get paid any way they can.
Plus
It's really sad.
They got that disappearing like fucking coastline too out there.
Oh,
Like
man.
where houses are falling off
moving them in.
they're falling off the grid.
So in the same paragraph on this article, it says, the Reuters article said there's 4 million homeless people, and it then goes on to say that, like, how bad the coronavirus was there, and you can fact check me on this one, but I believe it said there was 1,500 people that tested positive. It's 1,500.
That's not much.
4 million homeless people,
That's not a lot.
1,500 people in the entire country, the entire population
1,500.
are infected, and there was 38 deaths.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this
Might as
article,
well be zero.
Wow.
But this article wasn't.
it might as well,
Yeah,
you're
might
right.
as well.
Might as well be zero.
Exactly, because there's
Yeah.
like 1.2 billion people in the country, but this
That's a
article
fraction of a
wasn't
percent.
about how low the numbers were. It was about how bad it is and how they're fighting to
Are you
combat
serious?
this thing.
They were trying to
Yes.
say that was
It's always
bad.
been.
They were trying to
What?
say like 1,500. Oh my god, it's so bad.
Is that
Are they
is that
blaming
crazy?
their homeless
Is that-
people on coronavirus? Like, people are running around, they're blaming it.
Well,
on...
that's where I was like, wait, is this?
Is
I
it
know
so
this
low
article
because there's
is
no
about
5G out there?
I know this article is about coronavirus, but it probably should be addressing the homeless population, like the homeless
Yeah.
problem.
They just finally, as of maybe about 3 to 4 weeks ago, finally addressed the homeless in LA, which I know it's been a while since you guys have been out there, but every underpass, every turnpike, every alley, I mean, the cops can't even do anything anymore. The city just basically finally said, well, grab a piece of sidewalk and it's yours.
Wow.
So up and down Sunset Boulevard, even going into Beverly Hills, it was
Damn.
10
Even on Sunset? Holy smokes, man.
Yeah, I lived right off Sunset in the more eastern part of Hollywood. And it was just, and it's a little, I don't know, it's not as bougie as West Hollywood, but still, it's a popular area, touristy and stuff like that. And yeah, you go to Amoeba Records, you go wherever, and you're walking in people's piss, walking over people's shit, walking over people's, like, sprawled out on the sidewalk. I used to live, I shit you not, when I would be jogging, and there was a time when I actually was able to jog, that I shit you not, on one really hot day, I probably leaped over like 3 or 4 just spread out dudes, just either just fucked up, passed out, drunk, whatever.
Dude, that should be an Olympic event.
Yeah.
Leaping over
Dude
sprawled out
hurling.
dudes.
Dude hurtling.
But it's funny that you bring up India, because I always wonder in places like that where they've had terrible problems with other diseases like diphtheria, typhoid, and God knows what else, especially with how there's a lot of people. Areas are just so poor, and there's not like a lot of these kids don't get a lot of the nutrition that they need, and again, they're pissing and shitting in these rivers that they're also getting their drinking water from. It makes, and again, I'm no scientist or biologist or anything that would say otherwise, but it makes you think. Like, I wonder if these kids or people in general, if their immune systems are actually more built up. Because if they've been living in this literally shit for a number of years.
That was kind of my point. Yeah, exactly.
It kind of made me think of that, because it's, I'd assume through generations, if you're, exposed to that for a long periods of time, it builds up your immune system.
There has to be a correlation, right?
And that's just me kind of thinking off the.
Well, and that's I think kind of what we're getting at with the proposed, like, flattening the curve and getting to a second wave. The second wave will happen because we've put everybody into a damn bubble and we've crushed their immune system because they haven't been exposed to anything lately. And then we're going to just unleash everybody out into the world. And yeah, of course we're going to get a spike. Like, how would you not? Like,
Dude,
it's
before,
planned.
Right. Before I left, because same with talk about atrophying, like that's what you're doing to your immune system. If you are successfully obeying the safer at home order and you're self quarantining and everything, you don't have to go out much at all, and you're at home and you're washing your hands 20 times a day and you're hosing everything down with Lysol and shit. It's like we don't have the option to do that. We're still out in the world going to work and everything. But if you're doing that, dude, before we left the house, Grace was showing me this girl she follows on Instagram that did a time-lapse video of her routine when she gets back from the grocery store, wiping down every piece of grocery, stores them in the basement for 4 days.
God.
Takes her clothes off and washes them. And but like this whole thing. This is like her routine. Is this real life? Are people really doing this?
That triggers the shit out of me
because
right now, man. I'm
even Dustin Lamp has been triggered.
I'm triggered.
Brandon's like, now you know how it feels. But
people are doing this. My mom and stepdad are doing it, and a lot of other people I know are doing it, and if it makes them feel safe, I guess,
Wait, they're hosing down groceries? Like wiping groceries off?
But do you say
they put it in their garage, they wipe the shit down, so like the non-perishable stuff, they cans and whatnot, they just leave in the garage for 3 days. And
but how do you feel about the people that you love, like kind of like falling victim to this propaganda?
So I'll tell you. Well, there's two things. Right now, my mom is. She's going to be fine, but she's in treatment for cancer right now, and it's and it just like she just had the surgery and the diagnosis just right before the shit all hit and everything like that.
Oh, that's terrible, man.
Sorry
Prayers,
to
her, man, dude.
Yeah, she's going to be fine, but we have to be extra careful because she's, her immune system is lower than most, and
she is at risk.
Catch this, that, and everything like that. So yeah, my stepdad makes sure that anything he brings home, he just wipes it down quickly and everything. So you got to take that precaution, which kind of goes back to my original statement, is that again, if this is not really. If this is just more of a flu type thing, then no matter coronavirus or not, that just in the midst of a flu season, we should be doing this all the time, especially with our elderly and our people that are, sick and stuff like that. It shouldn't just be this situation here, if you know what I'm saying. When we have these influenzas or these flu seasons, if normally that these things are affecting people either way, granted this is to be more, we have to. Why aren't we doing this? Why isn't the government out there saying, well, hey, they do, but if you catch my drift,
yeah, that's common courtesy. If you know somebody, nobody's going to visit grandma in the nursing home if they're, pissing out their ass and throwing up with the flu. You're not doing that anyways.
Fucking exactly.
But yeah. So for that instance, yeah. And then my grandfather, he's 95, obviously. He's in a nursing home, so he's kind of stuck there, and you got to be careful with him and everything like that. But yeah, there's other people who are wiping down stuff. And then to get to your point about, like, if I talk to family members or if I talk to friends, and certain friends will take it or leave it, and they're just like, hey, these are my views, and this is just how I want to handle it, and that's cool. Whichever way you flow, I'm not going to,
right,
persuade you one way or another. But then there are times, there have been a few, like one time I had posted something, and a friend or some guy I didn't even know responded to it with basically an article, a rebuttal. And a friend had actually said, I was just going to post the same thing. I went back to him later. I said, hey, did you read this article that you said that you wanted to send, the same one this Joe Blow guy sent me. And he's like, oh, yeah, for the most part. I said, well, did you read the about this person comment? The guy doesn't even use his real name. He uses a pseudonym because he's tired of all of the harassing and all the negative comments. I said, so now we're denouncing doctors that are going out there and saying and giving, 25 years of experience in this and that, and they're coming out and telling what they believe is the truth or the God's honest truth about what's going on. You denounce them, but you take the word of some guy who doesn't show his face, doesn't use his real name, could have pulled this shit out of nowhere, copied and pasted. And this is where we're at right now. And this is the problem that I have. Because, like we said earlier, it's doctor versus doctor. It's science versus science.
Right.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
political science, really.
That's been our entire conversation so far, too. It's like, well, I heard this, but it sounds like I don't think any of us here have like some hard stance either way, and that's where the problems arise, though, is the people that act like they do. Because if the fucking experts can't even agree, then how are we supposed to?
Right.
So meanwhile, we have to default to our own everyday experiences, mine being I'm going to work, I am exposed, zero precautions are being taken by the company I work for. So if I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get it at work, and there's not a fucking thing I can do about it unless I just stop going to work. And yeah, I should be really pissed about that. But then on the other hand, it's like that might be the best thing for me and my family right now.
Yeah.
To actually be exposed, coming home, bringing that shit into the house if there is any.
100%.
Working for UPS, you don't get much more exposure to different,
Well, let's just throw this out there. If they were, if this was as bad as it is, that it would need, to say, well, this is so fucked up. Why aren't we shutting everything down right now? No one goes to work. Everyone stays home.
right on.
Right now, if that was the case, there would be riots because the world would shut down. The grocery stores wouldn't have any food because no one's driving the trucks to deliver the food. So it's kind of like in a way it's like things have to stay open, right? Because people need food, the essentials. Car dealerships need to stay open because if someone's car dies that still needs to go to work. But on the other hand, if you look at it, it's like, well, what would happen if we really shut everything down? If the disease was so fucking bad, if we just took everything and just closed it down?
Which seems like the way they've built up the hype or whatever you want to call it, the way they're promoting fear of this thing, that seems like the most responsible and appropriate response from the government. That's what's so confusing about so many people taking this stance of just obey the safer at home order, trust the government, like as if the government has ever given a shit about your health and safety.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous, and that's what I'm saying is like if there is something else going on here, which we've all talked about it, if there are other ulterior motives for whatever reason, shutting everything down would just not be conducive to their plan because, like I said, if LA right now has had enough, or the OC, I should more say, Huntington and Newport and all of them, if they're defying orders, and these are just fun-loving beach fucking people, that are like, fuck you, we're going to the fucking beach, we don't give a fuck,
Yeah, do that chick in Huntington Beach with their, like, American flag bra, like, playing Born in the USA.
How bad that would be if because here's the thing, so Chicago or Illinois or whatever is now till the end of this month or whatever, and they can't extend this anymore. They really can't. I know Newsom wanted to go into, like, almost the end of summer. People are not going to want to stay home. And the two things are going to happen. People, if people have to go through much more of this, they're going to revolt. More people, and not only that, but the wrong people are going to revolt. There's going to be a huge uptick in crime, and places are going to get broken into because the only people that are out there right now, or that could be out there, are the people that want to do bad shit, that don't give a fuck about wars, that don't give a shit about, who they might infect or anything like that. There's going to be more break-ins. There's going to be more, stick-ups or whatever. It could be probably more car thefts and everything like that. There's a lot of things to consider with all of this going on, whether we do it the right way or this way, or we do everything like, cut it off right,
Will there be, though, with the fact that they're basically making it easier or more beneficial to be on, like, welfare? Like, because, you're going to get that extra $600. Like,
I didn't even get $600.
Dude, like, and that's what's crazy is that, like, they claim that certain people are getting certain monies, and then the people that are supposed to be getting that money aren't getting it. So
a lot of people aren't getting it because they're, like in my business, they're 1099s or they're contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I worked for a couple of companies that I was actually a W-2. I was still like a hired gun, but I was still a W-2. But I got a whopping $300 like deposited into my account, and that was it.
Jesus,
man, that's
and then I know other people who will not receive anything or receive very little or whatever. But the other thing too is, it's also kind of insulting the fact that there's a lot of people, because they said that the more you make, the less you'll get or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I go back to LA and how expensive LA is, and like for example, I mean the average house out here, 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, or whatever. I don't know, 250 to 300,000 in the Chicagoland area or whatever. Maybe let's throw it up even to 350 or whatever like that. Those same houses are almost or $1 million, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you got to think, like, if you got a couple kids, wife, both you guys work or whatever and everything like that. But if you both lose your jobs, because as it goes, a lot of times the more money you make, the more you spend, right? It's your American right to do so.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people have savings or maybe at least a little something, but I think that's just the biggest crock of shit, that it's just, there's a lot more people out there that need it than not, whether you make 200 grand a year or you make 20 grand a year.
Yeah, it's a little rude that this, and I don't think there's a perfect system for this or whatever, but that everybody's
are giving like $2,000 a month. They're at least providing while this is going on.
Yeah. Yeah, but just right. I mean, it's like if you're living, I mean, even kind of where we're at or where we grew up, I mean, if you're making $600 on top of whatever if you're pulling in almost $1,000 a week off unemployment, like you're probably doing better than you were.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, but
well, think about like the crash, the possible crash that's coming in the housing economy from Airbnb owners. You've got super Airbnb owners that have 12 houses, but they don't own those houses. They're paying mortgages on those houses. They just
and now
they're not getting
any
any money. Yeah, so there's a possible housing crisis that could come from this.
Oh, dude, actually they're
the ones that are going to suffer, because honestly, and I mean, everybody has a right to make a buck, but Airbnb, especially again in like major cities like LA, New York, or Chicago, Airbnb is the reason why a lot of the housing markets went
correct
through the roof.
Agreed.
But at the same time, we were already due for a correction as it is, in the the stocks and in our system anyways. So that was bound to happen. This just wasn't expected. The housing market will survive. But again, if this continues, then we'll start to see a drop, like a significant drop, because the bubble should have already burst in some places already because the prices were too high. But like I said, again, Airbnb was one of the reasons that it was just such a huge bubble and everything. So as far as these guys, if they can afford these houses or not, I mean, that just sucks. A lot of people are affected. What that means in the future, I don't know.
Yeah, so to get into specifics, Pat, I mean, so Spalmer, is that what he does? He's a tour manager? Is that what he still does?
No, he does well, he was at one point. I don't know I can't remember if he did bands, but I know he was like a tour manager for like a Comics Last Standing, like that reality show or whatever.
Yeah.
Comics went touring the world and stuff like that. So he basically managed those cats for a while. And then later on, he went to logistics, which was basically like, he was shipping freight.
Oh, okay.
And then he started his own business.
Oh, so that's what he's doing now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. I think he posted something about his like old days as a manager.
Okay. But, like our buddy Shane, he makes a business setting up shows. His business is bringing groups of people together, and the more you can pack into a venue, the more money you're making. Like, right. That industry is shattered. What are you doing right now, Pat? I mean, are you still...
I ain't doing shit, man. I'm
sitting on your floor talking to a couple of dumbasses
my
in
business
Wisconsin.
is dead, except for some people I know that work in media that have full-time gigs. But then that's even kind of, for some people, going away because they're cutting hours or they're down to like 1 or 2 days. The industry out here, which I started to get back into work. I took some time off when I moved back. I kind of took a sabbatical, basically. And then I was working on growing my own business. And everything went to shit.
Yeah.
So even if things didn't work out here, I couldn't even go back to LA if I wanted to because there's nothing going on right now. Not that I would, but that's just the case. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess shift gears a little bit. But when you were in LA, were you working for NFL Network all the way up until you moved back here?
My last 2018 was really the last year that I was there a lot. 2019 came and they had gotten a lot of new executive producers. They was changing all the time over there. And so there was a lot of new people who were kind of doing away with true, studio life. Everything just kind of changed. So I kind of backed off and everything. It wasn't worth it. There was just a lot of bullshit going on. So I wasn't there that much for the last
Big question. Year. Were you involved with Hey Rookie, Welcome to the NFL? Because that's basically one of my favorite shows of all time.
No. Actually, I don't know Hey Rookie. What show is that on NFL?
Yeah, it's on NFL Network. Hey Rookie, Welcome to the NFL. Yeah, that's
that's a fun little show. Again, the regime changed, and it happened often the last couple of years. They actually started doing away with a lot of big shows. They started going to more like green screen shows or automated shows where basically it's like, one guy comes in and turns on all the lights and everything's preset and they're on a green screen or they have monitors behind them and the cameras are robotic.
Oh, whoa.
Dude, just eliminating all human interface at all.
That's been the problem. There's guys that I know that work in other places too where they've gone full auto. There's no cameramen anymore.
It's terrible.
There's some places might still have stage managers, some might not. It depends on the production or whatever. So there's a lot of people who have lost work. So to get back to NFL though, I kind of started to steer clear of them in the last year or so because they were just let me put it this way. As a freelancer, we thrive on the fact that we're freelance, and before it was you would get paid for an 8-hour shift, but maybe you'd only work 4 hours, which is great because then you could go to another gig that was an 8-hour shift, but you were only getting paid 6 hours. But you know what I'm saying? But you get your full 8 hours work because that's what it was. That's how it worked. It's kind of like you come in at 2 in the afternoon. You're going to tape at 4. So at like 3:15, you take a lunch. You tape for 2 hours, and then there ain't shit to do. So you go home. Well, they started to do shit like, they started moving all the shows to bankers' hours, which if you've been to LA and going from point A to point B at like between 7 and 10 a.m. is a day and a year. So a lot of times my other gigs, it just didn't work out because I was just like, fuck this. I was getting home from gigs at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm not gonna get up at 5:30 to go 12 miles because it's gonna take me an hour and a half to get there. You know what I'm saying? And then they started doing this shit where it's like it's not a show, it's a shift, which means you stay for your full 8 hours, you know, for the most part. And if you left, they dock you. You know, so it really fucked with people, and it fucked with me and everything like that. So towards the end, I was just like, well, screw this. You know, I can get more gigs here, or I can go and do this gig, actually get paid more, and I'll leave here at like 10 a.m. I'll be back by 2, and while I'm in the tub having a beer or watching TV, I'm still getting paid. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that shit going on. So yeah, when all that shit started happening more at NFL, I just kind of I started to stay away. And at that point, I kind of knew I was coming back anyways.
But man, talk about just like, I guess what I was gonna like transition into is just talk about another just industry that's just been maybe not devastated. I guess the NFL. I don't know. I mean, not that you're going to be an expert on this, but that's like an entire culture that's just disappeared for, temporarily, or just sports in general, or to take it a step further, the entertainment industry. I mean, is there anybody you're still talking to out there? Like,
yeah,
that, I mean, what are they doing?
Honestly, a lot of guys, they ain't going anywhere. They're not doing anything. Excuse me. No,
yours turned down.
We good?
Yeah, we're good. I'm sorry.
No, I guess basically in a nutshell, yeah, there's just a lot of dudes I know and dudettes that are they're not working right now. Or there's the few, like I said, that are staff that, like if you get more into media, like the news anchor or the news outlets and stuff like that, they're working, you know, odd shifts or half shifts. You know, they only come in for like 3 or 4 hours because they can't be in because a lot of these people have to be in the same room. Right. So instead, what they're doing is they'll basically take someone that was there normally like 40 hours a week, and they'll just cut their hours in half. So they'll come in the morning and they'll be in one room all by themselves to control whatever, and then, you know, the later guy will come in and everything, and they, you know, make sure they don't cross paths or cross contaminate or whatever. So there's a lot of that shit going on, you know. And then, like I said, a lot of it's all complete, you know, automation now. So.
Oh man, so like people were losing their jobs even before this all kind of kicked off.
Yeah. Well, it's mainly no, that's a big part of it. That's kind of in part why I was starting to, you know, get ready, and I had been kind of tired of that business for years, but getting ready to leave that business. So because of that.
Well, I mean, we got to bring it up. The Out of Shadows documentary. I mean, you were in LA. How long were you out there? 10 years? 12 years? Longer?
13.
13 years.
Yeah.
How many satanic pedophile rituals were you a part of or privy to?
Yeah.
Right now, a couple invitations on the refrigerator.
Can I turn this down really quick for
me?
I
don't know. Do what you got to do.
Okay. Sorry, it's just kind of loud.
No, I saw some. I mean, I think anybody will tell you if you lived out there long enough, and especially if you worked in that business, you came across weird shit. You saw weird shit. People act weird. You know, it's a real fucking strange town. You know, no matter how long you live there. And but I mean, I was just a contractor. I was just a little man on, you know, bottom of the totem pole. So I wasn't really. And I think since I moved out there and I was a wee bit older than most at the time, I was 28 when I moved out there. So I don't know. I wasn't out there when I was real young or in my early 20s to, you know, experience those wild and crazy parties. I did experience a few, but, you know, to be honest, I never really saw anything. I got to say, though, one time I did want to say that. You guys hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're listening. Yeah.
Sorry, you guys cut off.
We're captivated.
The only thing is I will say is, honestly, seriously, and this is the only thing that probably like really freaked me out is I was a witness, and I think my presence spooked it, was the abduction of a young woman.
What?
What?
For child trafficking.
Say
Yeah.
again?
Oh shit.
Well, there was this young girl, and it was late at night, and I was, I think I was coming back from a bar or something. Anyways, I would always be out walking out at night and everything. And there was this young girl, and I noticed her because I had walked past her to go to the 7-Eleven to get some water, and then I was walking back to go back to my house. And so I noticed she was sitting there, and I just kind of like, wow, she looks, a little young to be sitting there by herself. This is like around 11 o'clock at night, 10:30 or something like that. And then as I was walking out of the store, I saw this car pull up really quick. And the window was rolled down, the windows were all tinted and everything like that. And this guy was reaching out, and you could just tell by the body language that this girl wasn't interested in what these guys wanted or whatever. And then as I started to cross the street, the door started to open up, and I saw the guy kind of start to reach, and the girl kind of did like one of these. I'm showing the image of like kind of like putting her back up against the canopy thing.
Peeling back.
And then I think the driver guy saw me and said, it was in Spanish though, and I looked to me like I spooked the guy, and then they just took off. Or whatever.
Oh my god!
And then the girl just kind of like ran just down the street into an alley or something. I don't know. It was just one of those weird. I wasn't fucked up. I wasn't on anything, but it was just one of those things that I saw that was just like, maybe it was nothing. Maybe they were neighbors and they were just fucking with her or something,
Yeah, probably not, man. Probably not. She just bounced.
It's possible that what happened. Now, Pat, you're a big guy. You're an intimidating guy.
Yes.
It's possible what happened is that this car of Good Samaritans pulled up to this girl on a bench and said, "Get in! That guy's coming for you, right there."
Yeah, you were the perpetrator in this whole thing.
Right. Yeah. No, but
that's awful. Oh man,
dude, and she just bounced and just bailed and just kept running, and you never caught up with her at all or anything because
weird things. But see, like, there are just other weird fucking things that would happen in my neighborhood all the time, man. There were a couple bars that were down the street. Did we go to any of them, Klug?
I remember me and you going to watch a Sunday Night Football Packers game. That was like the first night I met you when Chris just ditched me at your house. And
didn't we go to Jumbo's Clown Room?
Oh yeah, we went to Jumbo's. That was when me, Stark, and Lee was out there. Shane was out there. Yeah. And
that's right.
Checkeye was out there too.
That was the incident with the minivan going through Beverly Hills.
Oh yeah, the minivan where you were giving us a 90-mile-an-hour tour of.
But anyways, my point being is that I would walk. That was only 2 blocks away, and the streets are pretty dark at night, and so you'd see all types of shit. There was always people I don't know why the fuck these people were. There was always people shitting everywhere. They just like, I just want to shit here. I have to shit. I'm going to shit right here. And just people are just, guy's shitting, and don't think anything of it, and pissing everywhere. But then people would just be, like I said, they'd be sprawled out on the streets, passed out, drunk, high, you name it. Honestly, towards the end, for me being there, it really started to become like Zombieland. It was just fucking weird. So who knows what happened, really, honestly, with that girl. It just, you kind of can tell sometimes by people's, like especially when she kind of lifted her leg up and again, pushed herself up against the canopy to like kind of like get away from this guy,
Yeah.
They told me that she didn't want she didn't know these people or want anything to do with it or anything like that. So, but as far as anything crazy, any parties, I've been to a few company parties and even a few of the house parties and stuff like that, and honestly, it was just you walk in a room and people are doing coke off girls' butts or something. There was a few of those or something.
What? You just had that happen to you? Dude, you just like
act like you've been there before, man.
Dude, I have not been there before, man. Fuck me. Like, that is awesome and not a part of my regular daily life, but that is super cool. And I mean, granted, like, I wouldn't have done
I'm
any
not bragging or anything, but
lines.
it's just that, kind of like the stories you hear, like, I mean, it's by no means anything like Wolf of Wall Street or Motley Crue or anything like that, but that stuff does happen,
Yeah, you just basically described The Dirt plus Wolf of Wall Street. Right
yeah, but
there
wait,
in one
he's not giving
thing.
us all the details. He's kind of downplaying it because who knows what that looks like. You have the movie version and then maybe like the actual house party version where you don't know what this chick ate. 6 hours prior, this guy might end up getting it just blown right out of his face.
Dude,
I mean, there's a million things that could happen.
I just assume you're Tommy Lee girls within the first 3 minutes of The Dirt. I just assume you're Tommy Lee girls on the regular when you walk into a house party. That's just how it goes, huh?
Maybe it's not so glamorous. Who knows? But you saw Out of Shadows. I mean, go ahead. You saw Out.
Go ahead about the movie, yeah.
I mean, is that far-fetched? I mean, these guys, it seems...
Well, these guys were obviously much more in the thick of it than I was. These guys were, like, absolute professional stuntmen that obviously were working on the biggest productions at the time.
Yeah.
So those guys are going to be more in the mix of people that may be more into this stuff, or it's a lot more accessible from where he's standing from, or those people are. So, but I mean, you hear shit, and at times it's like, I don't know, because you hear it from one person, this person was over.
Can you give us an example? Like, nothing like damning, or can you give us anything?
I'm trying to think. There was one time a girl I know was at a party in the hills. She didn't tell me the actor's name, but that, wait. No, you know what? There is a story I can tell you, but it has to do with Scientology, though.
Oh, dude, yeah. You're sprechen the lingity here, baby.
The Hollywood.
And actually, what it was a guy that I know that I worked with, and he was friends with the Ween guys, and they were all friends with what's his name, Giovanni Ribisi.
Oh, yeah. From
and I guess his sister is married to Beck.
Okay.
And I guess they're all Scientologists. So one night they were all having a party at Giovanni's house or whatever, and they went downstairs, and the whole place was like one big Scientology shrine, library, artifacts, books in gold.
At Ribisi's place.
Yeah, and this was, I guess he had this townhouse out in Silver Lake at the time. This is probably like a decade, maybe a little longer ago. And I guess it was just like they knew like they were all part of this or whatever, but when they went down to this one room in the basement, it was just like this fucking like golden shrine type deal, all these books in gold and everything. Like I said, this is just a story that someone told me, but I mean, I think if you look it up, they are known to be, Scientologists. They are involved in that and everything. There was no sacrifice, there was no this or anything like that, but it's
What happened? What happened when they got down? Like they got down there, and then there was
down there, and then I guess Ribisi came down and was like, "Get the fuck out!"
What?
Like, how dare you? You're not supposed to be down here. This is sacred.
Unless you want me to do coke off your ass.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. Unless you're willing to get a 9-inch erection and let me do a full line off that thing.
Right.
But anyways, So, but like I said, I never really encountered I always kept to myself for the most part, and then I never really partook. I mean, some of the like the NFL Christmas parties were fucking a riot. They were great, I mean, no stories there. I mean, it was just everybody. It was funny because like everybody would just show up and like, oh, I'm just having one or two drinks, and then we close the whole fucking place down, and it's just a hoot, and everybody's loving everybody, because when you go to work, the players kind of, they don't really mingle that much, they might, hey, how you doing? But then, the walls come down, everybody's having a good time. So for the most part, like, it was always a good time. But like I said, you'd hear tons of stuff. I'd hear a lot of things about things that might have happened to a woman, as I'm sure you guys know, there was those big scandals that was going on at NFL. Like half the analysts basically got canned about 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, wasn't that the Darren Sharper? Wasn't he one of the big ones?
Sharper was like
Sharper was a multi-year, state crazy thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even associate. No, I mean, this was more like when the Me Too movement started. That shit started happening. But Darren Sharper, that was like I think first year or second year that I was there.
Yeah, Sharper was crazy. Sharper's carried many years.
Well, he got accused in multiple states. I think that's
right.
But yeah, that dude is, and honestly, I mean, I don't know the guy, but the guy was a fucking dick. He was just a mouthy asshole. He really was. He talked down to everybody. He was just a piece of shit.
I had a question for you. Is Rich Eisen on the level? Is he on the level? He's been around for a long time.
What do you mean on the level? Like, is he
an okay guy, or is he kind of a douche?
I don't know.
Seems like
I mean, Rich is just Rich. I mean, I think he's one of the top paid analysts, if I remember.
Yeah,
so he's gonna flaunt that. I mean, he was never like disrespectful. He always just seemed cool on set and everything. And I worked on his actual show that for the first like couple months before they got rid of everybody. But I mean, he was just he come, hey guys, how you doing, and everything like that. I mean, he was very boisterous, because he's excited it's his show, or just he's on set and everything like that. He was cool. But I mean, pretty much the normal. I mean, there's most of those guys, like I said, they pretty much kept to themselves and everything, because they were part of this elite club, and here they are talking about something that they can't or will never play again, and I'm sure like when you're at that level, at the the apex of your game and everything, to just walk away from that, and you're now part of this boys club, so they kind of keep it to themselves.
I think we've kind of talked about that before, how weird it is, like, these classics shows where they're getting these dudes together to talk about like some shit they did, for 3 hours 25 years ago. Like, yeah,
I don't remember.
I threw that ball and you caught the ball. Fuck yeah, man, it was awesome. I think we won the game. Yeah, we did.
Well, that's how bonkers. that goes to show how bonkers just like the Jordan The Last Dance thing is, like, to gather 10 plus hours of shit where they're recalling like conversations they had. Like, it's like, yeah, I remember the first time I met so and so, or this conversation with so and so. It's like, what? Like,
it was the best time of their lives.
Man.
That's why. I mean, that's this. Can you imagine being that young and all that success and everything?
Yes,
I mean, that's
No, I can't. No, I can't.
Well, look after that.
Yeah.
So, but no satanic parties or anything. So, sorry.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
God.
man, dude.
Yeah.
We were really looking forward to like a couple of, at least, like, you went into the grotto or the Playboy Mansion, and it was like, it turns out to be a kind of a sacrificial place, whatever like that. Nothing like
Nobody
that.
hopes for that, but I mean,
unfortunately, that was above my pay grade because like I got more. Because when I started working out there and lighting, the writer's strike had just happened, or actually I should say the writer's strike is the reason I went into to do lighting, because at the time I was out there to be a writer, and it just wasn't happening. Everything was shut down. They restructured the way things happen about how you become a writer. It was just insane. But at the same time, I needed to work. So I went into lighting. Because at the time they were doing a lot of these non-union B movies where they were paying almost less than dirt at the time. And then I moved into network because network was always, it was 365. So, I figured, well, I've got a paycheck for now. At least I'm working, even if it's 3 or 4 days a week, or even 2. At least I know I have 2 days coming up every week. Whereas at certain points, the non-union movies or the low budgets or whatever, they would just come and go, or I might get called to do some shitty like music video or weird car commercial or something like that. That just, I mean, when you're getting served for lunch like off the dollar menu at McDonald's, you got to do something to make more money.
Oh man, well yeah, isn't that? I mean, you were out there for 13 years though. I mean, even that, like that's crazy, right? I mean, you definitely can speak to. We talked about. We were talking to Chris kind of about some of this stuff, Hiscox, and like that. Just how crazy of a place it is, and just how desperate of a place it can, like it doesn't get more competitive than the entertainment industry, right? I mean,
well, the entertainment industry just got more competitive because now, before like when I went out there, YouTube wasn't as big as it was. Netflix was nowhere near what they are now. They literally started designing the last couple of years, or at least the last 2 years. They were building. Like 10, 15-story buildings just for YouTubers, because it would have everything, and they'd have televisions, they'd have studios to do their podcasts, record stuff, and then on the lot that I worked on, when I worked at KTLA, Netflix pretty much bought out that whole thing, or at least leased most of it, and they built this giant like 12, 13-story building with then like a smaller like 5-story building next to it. And that was just one part of it. Then there were the studios, the sound stages. Then there was other buildings placed all along LA and Beverly Hills and stuff like that. So that's just one piece of it. So the business has definitely changed. And now the fact that all these people can become stars just from their own home without having to leave.
Right.
And eventually, a lot of them do end up going to California and everything, and because it's just huge. So now you've got all that mixed in with it and everything else, and yeah, it's just got crazier. There were so many people that moved there. The prices of everything went up. Venice Beach, they started to turn into, what do they call that? I think they're calling it Little Cupertino or whatever, where like Apple is, like it's a little Silicon Valley. That's what I'm thinking of. Because like Google execs were buying out entire blocks and building these giant, 1 block long houses and stuff.
Wow.
Did you see a lot of people like go out there and fizzle out, or go out there and really crazy succeed at all? Or are there any like?
I know a few people who sustained. Like when I finished school out there. Or most of my schooling out there, and the one class that I was in, or the class of people I should say I was with, only myself and one other person stayed behind and actually was able, made a living working in that business. I know one other guy, he went off, and he's like a traveling writer, but pretty much everybody else that I knew when I was in school, they left. They went and did other things. They went back to school for other things. But yeah, no, I mean, I've seen people just be like, I'm done. I'm making $50,000, $75,000 a year and I'm struggling, but they're like, I'm going to go back to Nebraska or where the fuck I'm from because I'm falling back on my other degree, whatever that is, and I'll live comfortably. I don't have to stress.
Oh man. Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
So you were not in class with like Childish Gambino or somebody. You were like, wow, this guy's really got it going on.
No, honestly, I'll tell you who I was in class with. I was in class with like nephews of the Prince of Saudi Arabia. I was in classes with people whose parents worked with like the Bushes.
Whoa.
So there were kids that were driving Lamborghinis to school. Bro. There was a lot of that shit going on.
You're connected as hell, man. Holy shit.
Well, that's just crazy. You can bust your ass or be number one in your hometown, but I guess that's a whole nother reality I never really thought about is people that's parents can just buy their influence.
Oh, 100%.
Out there, to give them a leg up. Yeah, that's 100%. Crazy.
No, it is crazy. There's a lot. But there's also a lot of, and the thing though too is again that industry now is even 4 or 5 years ago, that industry became nothing like it was when I got into it. It's changed that much. It's that drastic because, again, like I said, the YouTube and Twitch and you name it, again, where you become an instant star online and everything, that's just taken over.
Do you think it's for the better or worse?
I think it depends on. I think it depends on who you ask. I think for like someone your age, if you've got a great idea and you can do it and you can be profitable at it and you don't have to leave where you're at, that's great. You know, I mean, there's a lot of kids that are playing video games making 6-7 figures from their parents' basement. Yeah. And that's nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, no.
And there's a lot of people that want to get out. I mean, honestly, I wanted to move to LA since I was like 17, 18 years old. I just wanted, I think, if anything, more of the experience to do it, because it's that wonderment of the like, oh my God, look where I'm at. This is crazy, But the thing that's funny is the bars fucking close at like 12:30 at night. So it's like, what the fuck is this place?
Yeah, that's fucked up. I want nothing to do with out there, man. This is terrible.
The real parties are up in the hills where people are doing coke off the ass.
Yeah, true.
True. You were there, John, speaking of fucked up in parties, your boy from Puddle of Mud at the Rainbow.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was. We went and had a little lunch at the Rainbow Room, and the dude's just fucking wasted at the bar. Like hammered. Like, and I'm from Wisconsin, and
guys just showed
this
up
dude
at,
was blacked out.
Lunchtime you showed up, and he was just like
2 or 3 in the afternoon. I mean, supposedly the guy had a house like right up the hill from the Rainbow, and because I think I had seen him there a few times before. I think that one time was Stark with us, or was it Stark was another time that he was there? Because I thought it was twice that was Stark.
Man, I don't know. I remember going back there with Stark, and
but anyway, that guy was just blackout, sloppy, fucking falling off the. Didn't he fall or something?
Fast forward to Stark got him even more hammered.
We went. Pat took me to see Steel Panther at the House of Blues. Like that was and that was a long time ago. I mean, before they were. I actually ended up seeing them.
Cheating.
Yeah.
But that was fucking awesome, dude. One of my favorite. I just told Jackson this story the other day just because I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
when I first hung out and met Pat, I went out there when Chris moved out there, so I was just kind of like couch surfing for a week or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, like because Shane was like, oh, hit up Pat, like Pat. I'm like, I think I know Pat, but like I called you up and Chris just dropped me off at your house. Just like, yeah, hey, what's up, man? Like, what do you want to do? So I ended up just staying at your house for like 3 days. But I went to work with him when you were working at KTLA. Oh. And I remember when we were there was that other girl you worked with, and you were running like the prompter or whatever. So I was hanging out with you back there, but she was kind of like setting up the desk and whatever. She was kind of I don't know. I don't know what she was, stagehand or whatever, or a production assistant or something.
Stage manager, yeah.
We're walking out to your car, and I think you had the Caprice at the time.
Back Chevy?
That white, yeah. It was badass. We're walking out to the parking lot, but she gets in, and again, I don't really know this guy too well at this point, so we're just kind of walking out to the car, just like, what do you want to do? Maybe go get some lunch or something, and she's kind of walking out at the same time. She gets into this like Lexus SUV, and I'm not even like paying attention to anything, but I just see you like look at her, like fumble with your keys, look at her again, and then just mutter to yourself, "Who's she blowing?"
I heard that story. I heard about. But yeah.
But that's when you were like, dude, that shit. Because you did go on to say like,
who's she blowing?
Yeah, like look at this chick. Like, guarantee you, she has a $900 a month car payment and lives in just a shitbox apartment because it's all about the image out there. Like,
Yeah. There was a lot of that shit, man. And that's the funny. I mean, I going with that though, I'll tell you the one thing. The other thing's true is definitely the casting couch. That's another thing that's definitely.
Whoa. Get me on that. Yeah, let's go with that.
So tell us about your first experience with the casting couch.
Let me start by saying, like, I've heard things, but I'm not going to go into it like on air because I don't have concrete proof. But like I said, you hear about stuff, but then, like you said, there's those people where you're like, all right, like, okay, who you driving this fucking thing? Who you blowing? Whatever. But I was just being mouthy or whatever. But yeah, it's just a whole nother different world out there and everything. So, but it was fun. I enjoyed my time. I'm actually I don't know if I'm more surprised I stayed as long as I did, or it was the opposite. Because I don't know, shit got bad quick out there. So.
What do you mean by shit got bad? Like shit got wow.
Just again, it was really bad with the homeless. It was really bad with the way the mayor was dealing with things and the way that there was other people that were okay with it just to be defiant to others that weren't. Like these people would take up causes just to defy other people because they thought they were like Trump supporters or they were more to the right than they were to what they were, the left and everything like that. It's like people were like, arguing the fact that these people, yes, they're dirty and they shit everywhere and they're homeless, but they need a place. And, there was a guy who was like the head of one of the main non-for-profits that helped homeless people. Well, he ended up getting his right leg from the knee down amputated because he got a staph infection or something of that matter, and it ended up getting him extremely sick, and he needed to cut off his leg. And it was from the exposure on a daily basis to, all the terrible fucking shit that was going on down there. Like forever, like I lived there because I would go downtown because at the time downtown wasn't as built up as it is now, I should say. And I liked it because it kind of reminded me of home a little bit, and downtown LA is not like downtown Chicago. It's very small. They've revamped it in the last few years. It's great. But still, it was like I would cut through Skid Row, which at the time was just a couple blocks long or whatever. And you definitely didn't go through there at night. But during the day, it was just tent city. And it fucking stunk like shit back then. And it stunk fucking terrible. And now it's just taken over everywhere. Like I said, they're camping everywhere. They just grab a spot. I mean, like I told you, I would run along Sunset Boulevard and cut through a couple different blocks. And I mean, I was dodging needles. I was looking more at the ground than where I was supposed to, looking at where I was heading because needles. There were people, literally people, just laying on the ground. Just they pissed themselves. There's a trail of piss coming. You'd be eaten by a cafe, and people, these homeless people, before that, like a lot of them would be like, "Hey, you gonna eat that? Can I, you either give it to them or you don't. You tell them to go away. They just walk up and take stuff." It got to a tipping point, though, where things started getting bad. It wasn't just like people were homeless anymore. There were a lot of the people that were homeless, they actually were trying to make a better life for themselves. Now, obviously, you got to take into consideration people that are mentally ill. And there's a lot of that out there because there weren't the programs to handle that many people and on top of it, a lot of them were drug addicts as well. But then what happened is a lot of people started getting attacked. About a year and a half ago, there was this transient guy, and he was just sitting on a bench in downtown Los Angeles. And there's video footage of it or whatever. And this elderly guy, maybe early, late 60s or whatever, he's walking down the street closer to the curb. And this guy just gets up from the bench and just clocks him. Knocks him out cold, and he falls into the street just as a street sweeper runs him over.
Whoa.
And the camera shows that the guy, it looked like he stayed away. Doesn't look like words were exchanged or anything like that. So there was a lot more of that happening. There was a lot more violence going on as far as just people going out on a nice summer day, whether they were at the beach or downtown LA or anywhere else, and people are getting attacked. And the amount of these people that were getting I don't know if they were getting crazier or if the drug problem was that bad out there, but you'd have people walking all over the place. You know, they're doing that thing where they're like, "What'd you say?" And you didn't say anything to them, and then they might want to get physical with you. You know, a lot of women were getting attacked, sexually assaulted, stuff like that, and they weren't doing anything. Not in a, I should say, in a more combative way. They were just kind of like, "We're California. It's all, you know, what's the big deal?" You know, so I'm giving a long example, but that's basically why I was kind of like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Plus, dude, cost of living is just fucking, all that fucking crap going on, and the cost of living, it's like, no, I'm done. You know, there were other reasons too, but those were a couple. So.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, you said it. I mean, even just have a 1,200 square foot house. I mean, $1 million or whatever. I mean, to actually buy out there is insane, you know. But you know, in a lot of these apartments, and you got people just flocking to go out there, and you know, if you're going there with whatever $100 to your name, and because you're gonna make it as an actor or something, and you're living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 roommates or whatever, like how many times is that the case, you know? And
I know. I mean, I knew people who were still doing it. I mean, I knew people who were getting little bit parts here and there, and they I mean, as I say, like they were doing okay, but they were 45 years old, and they were sharing a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom with, like, you know, 2 or 3 times the amount of people. You know, or they were just living in a fucking hovel because they had the one thing I say is there is rent control out there. Some people don't even raise the rent. So some guy got a nice, you know, 500 square foot studio 25 years ago. He's still maybe only paying $1,000. You know,
talking about Lemmy. Becky.
Talking about
R.I.P. Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the price of living is insane. I mean, Chicago's not far behind, but it's so that's about it, man. You know.
Yeah, I didn't mean to just turn in 21 questions about like what's it like to be out in Hollywood, but I'm always fascinated with that, you know, and like whatever, going out there and hanging out with you, like, dude, I mean, I had a blast, but you know, it just seems like it has the potential to be such a lonely town too, and just a weird vibe out there where, you know, I mean, actors, when you think about actors and how many actors there are out there, I mean, how many genuine people do you actually run into? Or like, you know, like
everyone's acting.
If everybody's acting,
yeah.
you know, and everybody's just virtue signaling, and, you know, everybody's got to think a certain way because you don't want to ruffle any feathers, and especially, you know, you can take that in the political direction too. Like you know, you don't want to actually like express your opinion, otherwise you're not going to get this part. You got to act a certain way, have a certain mindset. I mean,
no, it's all true. Every you hit on it almost every point. I mean, for me, I was working so much for many years. A lot of that stuff didn't even dawn on me because I was just go. I mean, I had no life. All my relationships, for the ones that were longer than a week, you know, they eventually just blew up or whatever. Because if you're dating someone that works in that same industry, you never see them. And if you are dating someone that is, in my case, I was dating someone who worked a 9 to 5, and that was hard because for the most time, my time off was during the week, which I actually liked. Mm-hmm. And then, but I also had a show that I was one of the lighting directors for on the weekend. And my show started at like 5 a.m. So a lot of times it's like, I can't be I'm not going to be going right out as much, even on a nice day, like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, I at least need to go home and take a nap, and that caused problems. And then, like, you know, it's like, why are these people texting you in the middle of the night? And I have to explain because these are the people that tell me if they need me to come in last minute, and it just can get really screwy and nasty and everything like that. So it gets, you know, it has its issues, but I don't know. At the same time, I liked it though. I liked the hustle. It was great. When the jobs were great and the money was good, it was great. It was a great like 5 or 6 years. I mean, it probably took a few years off my life, but it was fun, you know. And I wasn't one to always need to be out at the parties or get with the cool group or the fun group or anything like that. To me, the guys that I was hustling with, and there was the other thing too, is I wanted to hustle because you were at my place. That place I stayed with for 8 years. I could have moved, and it was, you know, it was in a decent area. It wasn't like I was in West Hollywood where that place would have cost me probably double what I was paying. But you know, the hustle was great, you know, and I didn't need much, you know.
Yeah, dude, that apartment on like Kingston or Kingsley or what was it?
Kingsley.
Yeah, dude. I don't know why, but like that. For some reason, there's a picture of me and you, or I took like a panoramic or something. Dude, this is from so long ago, but it's still on my phone. It's like one of the first pictures on my phone from, I don't know why, just certain fucking pictures from your iCloud will just pop up, but I got a picture from your roof. Oh, man. Had some good times on that roof.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I didn't leave, because it was always, I mean, the weather for the most part is always nice, and it was always nice to go up there and have a beer. You know, yeah. 4th of July, the Armenians, because I was in an Armenian neighborhood, they'd fucking just light that shit right there up on the streets in their backyard. So it's like right over your head. You know, fuck going to some park or Dodger Stadium to see fireworks. These guys fucking set it off 10 times better over there. There's just a lot of cool things about that spot. I really liked that place. It was cool, you know.
Yeah, is that where you were living until you moved back?
Yeah, I lived there like 8 years. Well, because it just became so convenient, because I was under rent control. I wasn't paying that much. I think I started there at like $1,100 and left at like $1,350 or something.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
And that's the thing. If I would have, and the other thing too is I had one nice dedicated spot that was like not near other cars, and then I eventually absorbed another parking spot. So to have, you know, a nice big 1-bedroom, 2nd floor, I got a view of the downtown LA, and to have, you know, again, 2 spots, that's it. For that price, it's insane, or it's unheard of, I should say. If I would have that now going, and actually what I heard was my place, once I moved out, they redid everything, and it was going for almost $3,000 a month.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's insane, and it's not like not like they do incredible work, these guys. Because I've seen the other apartments in my building that they, you know, redid, and it's nothing fancy. So I mean, basically paying for lipstick on a pig, you know.
I was just gonna say, man, you know, that's I mean that can be done. Yeah, make it look super modern and chic and everything, but just cheap. That's crazy. Well, and everybody wants to be out there, so I don't know. I'm just so kind of fascinated, especially right now with just you kind of touched on it with just, you know, you do have like your YouTube, of course, you know, YouTube celebrities. Just the competition is just so much crazier, especially since everybody can do this from their cell phone and from their home right now. But I'm kind of loving the fact, or maybe the idea, that, you know, your normal actual celebrity is kind of a dying thing. And especially right now, you can tell these people are just like, they got to be freaking out, you know. They don't have the attention, like they don't have the spotlight on them right now. Like there's no award shows, or especially with sports. I mean, there's no sports right now. It's insane to think like all the stuff that's just gotten taken away right now. Production has just ceased, you know. It's pretty nuts, right? I mean, it's
it is. But I like the fact though that I've heard some people that are on other shows that like sitcoms and stuff like that. Some actors agreed to pay for like the first couple months of the whole crew. I know a lot of musicians are doing that with their crew.
Wow.
You know, they're taking care of their people, which is awesome. You know, there's a lot of other places that are abusing people, you know, as far as just not like taking precautions for their safety in the midst of all this. Is, you know, they're still like packing them in. They're like, oh yeah, you got to be careful. Here's some sand sanitizer, but you got to work. So don't complain if you're sitting 2 feet from somebody instead of 6. But and then I like the creativity that's come out of it. You know, like there's a lot of people that are doing these jams, for isolation jams, and there's a lot of cool stuff that people are trying to do. I mean, you guys are doing the podcast. That's a big thing. You guys are still going. That's huge. So, I mean,
It's
people are still going to push.
Yeah.
People are still gonna,
Yeah.
So-
Now that I say that, I gotta take that back. I don't know why I'm such an asshole. I shouldn't be happy that. What the shittiest part about I guess the reality check for celebrities and sports egos of it's just out of control. You know what I mean? But it does suck. All the people that are behind the scenes making all this shit happen, that they're completely out of work. I mean, that fucking sucks. The ripple effect on all this is just totally nuts.
God damn it. Yeah, it really does suck because, again, there's a lot of people out there that make really good money. And I mean really good money is that they're not only – and I say that as a means of, if you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck, then you're doing all right. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to generalize that as everyone because everyone has a different situation. But to the fact that a lot of these celebrities who are still taking care of their staff or their crew and everything like that, that's big. That's huge, But it just then goes to show how much money these motherfuckers have.
Oh, yeah, man.
So,
yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. None of us have ever lived through anything like this before. And I just know personally that it's just, I'm fine, I did pretty damn good for myself out there, and I like I said, I wanted to take some time off, not this much time off, but this has actually prompted me to do some new and different things that I'm not going to talk about right now, but because I'm just in the start of it. But in the near future, I'll let you guys know.
Exciting, nice, congratulations.
Thank you. So no, I kind of feel that this has made a lot of people, as they truly are in a cocoon type way of living. A lot of these people are reinventing themselves and doing new things to eventually they'll come out of it and for the better. So I like that aspect. I like still staying positive out of all this shit.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I mean that is for sure. It does. And hopefully it's a positive thing for a lot of people to be spending more time with their families, but hopefully people are gaining some perspective out of all this and all that. It's just the uncertainty, that's what's annoying, and then all the different, we're here to just left to wonder what the fuck is really going on. That's getting a little old, and is there an end in sight? Is this reopening date a carrot on the stick for a place like Wisconsin or Illinois, where you have your mayor barking fucking orders down your throat?
I think that's why a lot of people are now starting to say, fuck this. A lot of people are like, I've had enough. It was fine for a while, and even some of the people that are still very freaked out about the virus that, are really freaked out about it. They're like, I have to work. I can't. I'm getting to the point where I don't know if I have to sell my wife's car in order to feed my kids. There's a lot of that going on, and the economy can't sustain if this goes too much longer. It really can't, and it will get fucking ugly out there, So as it is, they say a lot of the plants, the meat plants, that even some that aren't U.S. owned. Because it's like one of those things where they're allowed to come in, I don't know, process 75% for their country, and then why does it keep happening? And then 25% for this country, which I think, and that's another topic, but I think that's starting to get phased out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, we don't need to. We could probably wrap it up pretty soon. I know it's been a long time. It's getting late. But we should just do this again. But I don't know, maybe some closing questions. Is Tom Hanks in custody, or is he dead? What's going on?
Well, aren't they using him as a guinea pig supposedly to fight the virus now? Aren't they taking blood for him to figure out how he? Did you hear about that?
You hear about that?
No, I heard that he was...
blood to study the effects of the virus to help create a vaccine. That's one thing that I saw.
No, the main thing I heard about Tom Hanks was that they just used him as a
The Magic Johnson of AIDS.
to basically read the script to how everybody should react to the virus.
Like a poster boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was reading the script to it, and he was already, like, one of the things I saw was that he was already captured, basically, and you know, because like David Spade had put out that, like, Tom, contact us on that.
Oh yeah,
that
please
posted.
respond.
Yeah, please respond, and then Ellen had put out the, you know, she had put out the the Run Forest. She was wearing that sweatshirt with Run Forest on it and everything. It's like, so there's a lot of Tom Hanks tied things going on there. Like, so, you know, and then we haven't heard from him since. So I thought that's kind of interesting.
Any other quick hits? Joe Rogan, Project Mockingbird.
Dude,
I don't know about what the Project Mockingbird is, but
dude, I think well, what do you think about Rogan having that? You know, when this stuff all first popped off, and Rogan was talking so much about this, the Wuhan wet markets and about the bat stuff, and then
if you believe that this all came from some bat, like just like it came from somebody fucking AIDS came from fucking a monkey.
right, well, but that's what Rogan was pushing a month ago, and then now all of a sudden Rogan is changing his tune, so that's why I'm saying Rogan is Mockingbird. Rogan is a fucking shill, and Rogan is trash. That's all I gotta say. Rogan, fuck Rogan.
I wouldn't necessarily say Rogan is a shill, but he's definitely been bought out.
Dude, he's protecting a $40 million a year fucking industry right now.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, because if you go back to his, you know, if they're still available to watch, you go back to his old episodes. He was right there with Eddie Bravo. They were saying the same fucking thing. They were agreeing on everything. And then Joe, I mean, you know, speaking of YouTube, you know, God bless him. He made a fortune, probably 10 times the amount he ever did with television or stand up. You know.
Oh,
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. The dude is smart as hell, and he has given us a lot of information. But what he did with this whole thing was a complete Mockingbird shill. He spread fear and then just redacted it on his latest show.
Yeah.
Like he spread the fear and then they backtracked from it, and like I can't respect that. Like
and you know what? And honestly, that a lot of that happens. Like the one thing I will tell you, and I won't go into it, but the one thing I will tell you from working in media is that there are two sides fighting, and depending on which side has the upper hand, you will see things forced. You will see people's own personal narratives forced on you and stuff like that. That is very true. There is an agenda there that, you know, and like I said, I won't go into it, but if you ever thought about it, what your media is telling you, if it's truth or if it's forced by one major group's opinion, very true. Very true.
Yeah, man. Jackson, anything for Pat?
No, I don't believe so. Yeah, definitely an agenda there though.
Again, I know we're wrapping up here, but dude, the only other thing, I don't know if you have anything quick to say about it, but
when we go anywhere.
So. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Well, me neither. I got shit to do. Past 9 a.m., I'm basically free. Dude, I was just gonna say when we, I don't know. I guess we're trying to pry all this like creepy shit of Hollywood out of you or whatever. But when we stayed, one of the times I came out there, you suggested I stay at the Oakwoods, and then like I remember coming home and then seeing like that Oakwoods documentary about just like that's the go-to place for child actors and stuff, right? I mean, talk about what's that?
What documentary?
They
mentioned that in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Was the Oakwoods? They mentioned that?
No, man, this was like a long time ago. This is a long time ago. They did like a documentary about the Oakwoods Shit, dude, I don't remember the name of it or anything.
About the hotel and not the Oakwood.
Well, I stayed at one of those like furnished apartments or whatever. You could like rent it for a couple days.
The Michael Jackson documentary, they mentioned that.
Oh, do they talk about the Oakwoods in that?
Yeah, the Oakwoods. Yeah, the Michael Jackson doc, the HBO doc. They mentioned the
Well,
Oakwood.
no, I think I suggested to you instead of getting a hotel, you just stay there because I think the rates were the same and it was a cool place because there was the pool that you guys used and everything. And
you said
it was
Mike.
awesome.
Mike just has to see your beehole, and that's you're good to go, right?
Wait, what's that?
No, I'm fucking around. No, but I think what you're. I think that was touched in the Michael Jackson doc and the HBO doc.
All right. So what were you saying about John? That there was all these kids and because there would be a lot of kids there because it was a lot of times it was.
Parent kid, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the name of this
parents living through their kids acting.
Oh yeah,
right?
child actor program housing at the Oakwood. Like it was just that was like the go-to place for like if you had a kid you were trying to get into the industry. I don't know because didn't your dad lived there? Didn't he?
Yeah. For a while, he lived there too. Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, it's like I'm reaching. Like, come on, tell me some weird shit.
What'd you see out there?
Yeah.
The thing is, like I never honestly like I'm boring because all I did was I just worked. You know, I wasn't part of anything big or I didn't throw myself. And I'm not the type of person. I don't give a shit about the spotlight or anything like that. It was definitely an exciting time. But yeah, the Oakwood was a cool place. That was a lot of places where during pilot season you have a lot of the kids come and you would see these like 8-year-olds that talk like they were 15 and push their parents around because the parents maybe they are in a Disney show or something like that. That's where Corey Haim died. I saw Corey Haim like 3 days before he died, and that's where he died was the Oakwood.
Oh shit!
And Rick James died there,
Shit.
Trying to think who else lived there or anything, but it was this place. It had a grocery store inside of it and a gym, and it was right across from Universal Studios and down the street from Warner Brothers, and it had short-term living, so it was a perfect place. So that was another place that was full of characters and whatnot. So but quite expensive as well. So, but yeah, I don't know what else to say, but it was nice seeing you guys.
It was good. Yeah, dude. No, we got to figure out how to, because, well, dude, I mean, I started listening to Out of Hand, and I was like, hell yeah, I haven't hit up Pat in a while, so it was just awesome. Like, listening to your podcast, I guess kind of the same, with ours, it's like, you do it to hang out with your friends get to listen to you bullshitting. Dude, it's awesome. I hope you guys keep it going. But dude, the 2 times you guys have had Ryan on, we had Ryan on our podcast now, but we need to get like you and Ryan together. I don't know how to do that via Skype, but we want to have Ryan on pretty soon. We were trying to get him on last week, but
if this shit doesn't last that long, or we can fucking and I can just drive up there or something,
Yeah,
no shit.
Praying for that, man. Fuck.
Yeah. What about Zoom? Would Zoom work on this?
Zoom probably would work.
I have no idea.
Yeah, probably worked just the same, I guess.
I mean, it would. It would just be. Yeah, actually, I don't know how that would work. It would just might be a little rougher because since we're all in different places, talking over each other might happen a little bit more. But
it might be worth a shot. Well, yeah, dude. I don't know. I guess we can wrap it up. Jackson, you wanna take us out?
Dude, no. I know. I don't know what to say, but we would probably just cut it. Like. We would have found a transition point here. We usually always do.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys have a banjo to play or something? Like a little outro tune, or? I don't know.
Our banjo is named Jackson Coog.
Yeah. No, we always just like to put Jackson on the spot at the end.
Yeah, no.
But no words of wisdom. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, it was good hanging out. I'm glad.
No,
for sure.
You guys having me on. It was was really cool. I know we could have probably touched on a lot more shit, but we can do that again soon, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well, I'll hit you up, man. We should plan on it. We can go back and forth. Maybe I feel like our pre-pod got us going in one direction, and then we never hit back to it. But
because you want to know all the dirty secrets of Hollywood. I
yeah,
have any for you.
all you did was incriminate yourself trying to capture that young lady.
Oh God.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, yeah, dude. I guess goodbye for now. But whatever. I'll keep texting you, and we'll figure it out. And
Yeah, anytime. Let me know.
yeah, dude. I love the chain that we got going. Everybody's
Yeah,
just
it's great. It's cool.
sending each other interviews and articles.
Everybody's staying very in touch with everything. Like we're getting a lot of great info. Like we're keeping each other woke on some pretty awesome articles and some pretty good videos and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, you just have you have to stay alert on a lot of this stuff. And for me, even at times, I'm just like, I don't want to hear any more of this shit. But you got to pay attention. You got to, you know, and not to prove that you're right or who's wrong or anything like that. But you got to know what's going on. You know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely,
Agreed.
man.
Agreed.
But that's exactly it, and that's what it's frustrating at the same time is you can dig into this shit for yourself if you want to. I don't know who the fuck is only listening to mainstream media, but you can't live that way. Like, I don't know. So to just be aware that there's just as much misinformation as good information, but actually, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about because how am I supposed to know? Strange times.
It is, my man.
All right. Well, good night, Paddy.
Thank you again for having me on, and let's definitely do this again soon.
Yeah. All right, man. Sounds good.
Sounds good. See ya.
Take care, brother.